You really need to give it a rest already, you old hag. I mean, really, just what the heck is up with that meal you made for us today? Or should I say reheated for us, since all you did was take out some leftovers, throw them in the microwave, and then serve them to us for dinner. Do you think that we're dogs or something? Do you think you can just feed us slop and that we won't notice what you're doing? What in the world are you talking about? Are you really calling what I served you for dinner slop? Of course it is! I thought I told you that I was going to be having friends coming over tonight, didn't I? I told you so that you could prepare for everything and make sure to start cooking us something amazing in the afternoon so it would be ready by evening. But instead, you just threw together whatever you felt like and then threw it on a plate for my friends and I. Why would you do that? Can you really not cook one nice meal for people? I don't know what you're even talking about at all. I made what I thought you would like, and I'll have you know that I worked very hard on it. You mean that you weren't just serving us leftovers? You actually made that today? And that's the best you could do? Even if I grant that you actually did try, who in the world would ever want to eat what you put in front of us? I mean, really, when you brought up that platter, I just felt my appetite leave me right away. I don't think that you're being fair at all right now. Anyways, that's why I just took the food that you made for my friends and I dumped it all into the garbage. Then we all just ordered takeout for ourselves instead. But don't worry, I made sure to use your credit card when we ordered the food, since it was your mistake in the first place. Are you kidding me? Did you really do all of that? What is the matter with you, Lisa? I don't really have time to keep up this conversation anymore. I have to go and drop off my friends, so I'll be going now. As for you, you better get back home while I'm out and make sure that it's spotless before I get back. Do you understand me? But you were the one that kicked me out of the house because your friends were coming over in the first place. And then you asked me to cook for you, and you just threw away all the food that I made? And now you order me to come back and clean up the mess that you and your friends made. I'm sorry, but I don't think you're being fair to me at all right now. I mean, just who do you think I am? Who do I think you are? I think you're the maid that lives in our house, of course. I mean, that is what you are, you know. You moved in here just to be my personal maid. Excuse me? Do you have any idea who you're talking to? I can't believe that you're saying all of this. Anyways, can you just make sure that the house is clean as it was before my friends came over? And while you're at it, go ahead and make something for me to eat when I get back. But this time, try actually putting some effort into what you're doing, okay?
Tom, are you there? I need you to answer me right now, because I am seriously at my limit. Do you understand me?
Whoa, whoa, whoa. What is all of this about all of a sudden? Don't tell me that you got into another fight with Lisa.
She is just horrible. I mean, I don't even know if you could call it a fight at this point. Did you know that she asked me to cook for her and her friends only to call my food disgusting and throw it all away? Not only that, but then she demanded that I leave the house while her friends were over. And then on top of that, she demanded that I clean up after them all while calling me things like her maid. Do you have any idea how humiliating it is to be talked to by a child like that? It's just awful.
Oh, I see. Well, if that's all that happened, it sounds to me like you might need to work on your cooking skills a little then, right? I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with putting in a little more effort to try and impress your stepdaughter, you know? Besides, you are, after all, just a housewife, right? So it's not like you don't have plenty of time, that you're just at home alone. I think the least you can do is listen to what my daughter has to say to you and try to take those critiques as coming from a genuine place so that you can learn what you need to improve on. Then, when you start to do your job around the house in a fashion that suits you, Lisa, she might start to change her attitude towards you.
Do you have any idea just how hard I work to keep this house in running order every single day? I get up before everyone else to cook breakfast, and I'm always the last one going to bed as well.
Well, that just means that you're not at the level where you can do your job without taking up too much time. But I know there are plenty of wives way better and more efficient than you are. I mean, I'm not saying that as a dig against you, just that you shouldn't be so full of yourself, and maybe it's important to remind yourself that there are always more for you to learn. Is it really so bad to admit that maybe some of what Lisa has to say might be coming from a good place?
You do realize that I do so much more than just clean the house and do the cooking around here, right? I mean, you do realize that my meals are handmade, right? I make everything from scratch for you two. And the cleaning isn't just passing a vacuum over the floor once a week. I make sure to dust almost every day, and I'm constantly cleaning up after you two as well.
Sure, but are you telling me that you're not satisfied with your life already? I mean, you do realize that it's a mother's duty to make sacrifices for her husband and daughter, right?
Are you kidding me right now? You didn't just actually send that to me, did you? Are you even reading what I'm sending you?
I really can't deal with you when you get like this, you know? I mean, why can't you just keep the house clean and stop all your complaining? I really don't understand why you're being so ungrateful. I work hard every day to provide for us, and you don't see me complaining.
Well then, how about I go and find a job? What do you think about that? Because if you think that I want to just be a housewife, then you're wrong.
Wait, what? What in the world are you talking about? Are you telling me that you really think that you actually want to go out and work a real job?
I am just reminding you that the only reason I am not working is because you asked me to quit my job and become a full-time housewife. It was never something that I wanted to do, but because Lisa was just in the first grade, I wanted to try and be flexible and give it a shot. So I quit my job so that I could be at home and spend time with you and your daughter, all because I thought it would make the marriage go smoother. But now it's been years, and I have been thanklessly working as a housewife for you both, and most days it just feels like I'm your maid. So you can go on all about how much you think you provide for us, but think about what your life would be like if I wasn't doing this for you as well.
Okay, look, I'm sure that you came up with all kind of excuses in your head for how you got here, but at the end of the day, you're the one who chose to be a housewife, remember? And if anything, I think you should count yourself lucky to have someone who wants to provide for you like I do. I give you a really nice life.
Oh, really? Because it doesn't really seem that way from where I'm standing right now. In fact, I would much rather have the chance to get out of the house more and get back into an office. So if you really think that I have it easy, then please allow me to ease your burden while I go out and look for a job. Because Lisa is already in high school now, and I just really don't understand why I should be at home all the time.
Oh, come on. You can't really be serious about this, right? You're telling me that you want to trade a life of a housewife just to go back to work?
That's exactly what I'm saying. In fact, I think you should also know that I've found a place where I want to work at. And I'm going out to find a job, and then you and I are going to split the work around the house. And then maybe you'll understand just how much effort really goes into keeping the house running well.
You have got to be kidding me with this right now. I mean, really, why in the world would you want to make me do work around the house? And if you think that I'm just going to let you find another job, then you have got another thing coming. Do you have any idea how embarrassing that would be for me?
What in the world are you even talking about? How would me going out and getting a job be embarrassing for you?
Well, because if you're a housewife who just now getting a job, then everyone is going to know something is up with us. And I just don't want people getting the wrong idea about what's going on and just jumping to conclusions.
I really don't think that anyone would care at all if I went out and found a job. I mean, I stayed at home until your daughter was old enough to take care of her own, and now I'm going back out to work again. It seems pretty logical to me.
Shut up. You don't know what you're talking about at all. And anyways, it just won't work at all. So why don't you just drop it, okay? Besides, even if you go out and find a job, I doubt that you could find one that would earn half as much as I do. So if you think that you can make me do housework when you're barely earning, well then you're out of your mind.
You really think that I just can't be anything more than a housewife, don't you? Well, if that's the case, then I'm sorry, but I think I really am at my limit with you. If you aren't going to support me in getting a job, then I'm leaving this house.
Are you kidding me? Is that supposed to be some kind of joke or something? You can't just leave the house.
I am going to leave the house, and I'm never ever going to come back. So there. And if you don't want this to happen, all you have to do is let me work and do some more work around the house.
You really think that I'm just going to let you blackmail me like this? Well, it's not going to work on me. So if that's what you really want, then just leave. Like you said, Lisa's already old enough to take care of herself, so she doesn't even need a mother around anymore. And you think we're going to struggle if you leave us? Do you know how simple it's going to be to hire a maid to do all that you used to do? You think that you have all this power and pull all the influence over me, but you don't. I was always doing more for you than the other way around.
Okay then, fine. If that's really how you want to do things, then I'll leave, just like you said. We are going to get a divorce, and that is that. Hey there, you old hag. I just wanted you to know that I heard from my dad that you're finally going to be leaving. That's right. I'm going to start packing today and leave this house as soon as I can. Man, I mean, I knew you were useless, but I didn't expect things to escalate so quickly. It's pretty funny when you think about it. But it really is just so sad that you're getting chased out of this house by your own husband. Serves you right, though. I really don't think that any of this is sad at all. In fact, I'm glad to finally be leaving the two of you. You have never once shown me the respect that you should be showing your mother. Both you and your father have treated me like nothing more than some kind of maid who works for you. That shouldn't be how you treat a family. Well, you see, the thing is that we were never ever family to begin with. I mean, we're not even blood related. So how could you ever be my mother? I have been married to your father for 10 years now, and you two have never ever treated me like a family. I just told you. That's because you're not family. You're just a sad little maid who came to live with us for a while. But you weren't even good at being that, either. You could barely do your job right, and that's why I was always getting so upset with you. But at least now you're finally going to be leaving us for good. We don't need some useless housewife hanging around here. You're nothing but a parasite just feeding off of my dad. How dare you talk to me this way? Someone really ought to teach you a lesson. Well, it's not going to be you since you're getting kicked out of the house right now. So how about you just pack up your things and get out already? Oh, don't worry. That is exactly what I plan to do. I plan on packing up my things and never ever coming back here again. Well, good. That works out just fine for me, because I never ever want to see you again either. So there. I'm already so happy thinking of coming back to the house without you there. Well, don't worry. It won't be much longer now before me and all of my things are gone from this house. In fact, if I do happen to run into you after this, I'll treat you like a complete stranger that I've never even met. And I expect the same from you. Oh, of course. I mean, why would I want to do anything with a useless old lady that my dad doesn't even want in the house anymore? You're nothing to me and you never were anything. Well, perfect. I'm so happy that you said that, because this is going to make a great column for my magazine. Wait, what? What do you mean by that? I don't understand. Anyways, I have a lot of business to take care of, so I can't really waste my time anymore with you. You and your dad have a nice life without me in it. Hold on just a second. What do you mean your magazine? Where did that come from? I never heard about that before. Well, I don't really see why it's any of your business since we don't even know each other. Hey, Alexa, what the heck is going on here, huh? Did you seriously write about my dad and I in your magazine? Since when did you even work as a writer for a magazine? Wow, I suppose that I really shouldn't have expected anything less from a high school girl. It seems you follow magazines and online news and gossip and the like quite closely, don't you? But I thought that you and I were never going to talk to each other again if we could help it. Shut up and answer my questions. I want an explanation for what's going on, and I want one right now. I mean, I just saw that article on the front cover of one of the most popular magazines at this cafe. Not only that, but flipping through the magazine, it said that you were the one that published your own article as an open edition. Yeah, I mean, you basically just described the whole situation. And I think I know the cafe you're talking about since I'm close friends with the owner after writing a great review of the cafe. But I don't get it. This still doesn't make any sense to me at all. I thought that you were just a housewife. What's going on here? Well, as a housewife, I needed a place to get away from it all, and I found myself becoming a regular at the cafe. For instance, when you would kick me out when your friends were over, I would go to that cafe and spend hours there. And eventually became friends with the owner. In fact, he even asked if I wanted to take over his shop. But wait, this doesn't make any sense at all. Why in the world would he offer it to you? I guess he would do so because I'm not the useless housewife that you think I am. But I don't understand. You're the owner of a magazine, and now you're going to be taking over the cafe? You are talking about the cooking magazine, yes? I thought that the owner just recognized me and thought that I would be a good successor. After all, you most know that I'm a Michelin-starred chef, right? Hold on, what? What are you talking about? If that's true, then why did you feed my friends and I that horrible food? I'm sorry you thought it was horrible, but the general eating public seems to love it. Maybe you just have bad taste. But then, you must have a lot of money, right? I do okay for myself, thank you very much. But if you have that much money, then you have to tell my dad. I'm sure that he'll take you back if he knows that you're rich. 2 things. 1, I don't want anything to do with you or your father ever again. I have no reason to go back to him or you after the terrible way that you treated me. 2, your father was the one who told me that he never wanted me to work. I was able to work on my magazine in private, but I'm not about to beg for him to take me back and start new work running a cafe. But you can't just leave us. We had no idea that you had so much money. Here's a little tip from one former so-called parasite to another. If you want to try and have someone in your life for their money, you probably shouldn't just tell them to their faces. But I'm sure that I can talk to my dad and convince him to let you work if you want to. Please, we'll do more work around the house if you just come back to us. We really had no idea who you were. Well, that really isn't my problem in the slightest. You two acted the way that you did towards me and finally pushed me out of the house with your horrible attitudes. I told you that I never wanted anything to do with you or your father ever again, and I said that I didn't ever want you to speak to me again. So I really don't understand what you think you're going to accomplish by begging for me to come back when you've already made it clear that you're only doing so because you now know that I have money. Now if you'll excuse me, I have a life to get back to. After that, I started getting texts from Tom begging for me to take him back as well, but I just ignored them. Thankfully, we were already divorced and I was able to make sure he had no part in my life moving forward. Meanwhile, I finalized my purchase on the cafe and began running it part-time while I also continued publishing my food magazine. Learning how to run a restaurant is really hard work, so I was glad for that. I could really rely on my magazine stuff again, the same way that I did when I was married to Tom. As for Lisa and Tom, they continued to bug me, trying to find ways to worm themselves back into my life. But I really wasn't having any of it at all. I finally got to the point where I just blocked them on every medium imaginable. I did my best to cut them entirely out of my life, so that I wouldn't even have to hear the updates about what was going on in their lives.
Susan, I have something to ask. Good morning, Diane. Can I help you with anything? About the dinner last night, I believe you were not invited. How come you were there? David invited me. I planned that dinner party. I did not invite you. Why did you come to the dinner uninvited? People with common sense would certainly not show up to a party uninvited. I'm sorry. It's been 6 months since you and David got married. I've asked you before not to attend a party, haven't I? I believe I'm part of the family now that David and I are married. But we're not blood relatives. That should mean Steve, the husband of your daughter, can't attend the dinner either? But I saw him at the dinner last night. He is an exception. They have children now, so I consider him a family member. You haven't carried out your responsibility as a family member yet. You don't have a child. I'm sorry, but I can't accept you as a family member yet. Will you accept me as a family member once I have a child? That's not the only condition. Steve also makes a decent income. Most of all, his education and career bear comparison with those of our families. But your background is a little different, you see. Because I didn't go to college? To put it simply, yes. There are more reasons. Like the fact that you were raised by a single mother and you're not well educated. Even the restaurants I choose are too high-end for you. You should never come to dinners again. You don't know table manners. I've learned table manners since I became an adult. I will have no problem. Oh, please. You think you're one of us now just because you've learned some table manners? This is why I don't get along with uneducated people. You may have no problem, but I do. Did I misbehave at the dinner? I wouldn't know. I didn't pay so much attention to you. Anyway, don't ruin our precious family time. David has told you not to do that. Not to leave me out of the family. You apologized to me before. I only apologized out of regard for my son. Are you going to tell on me again? That kind of behavior shows your lack of dignity. I've never told on you. David just noticed. Oh, did he? I hope I won't get an angry call from him blaming me. Listen, Susan. I'm telling you this for your own sake. For my sake? You know, you should know your place. I don't invite you to a dinner because you would feel miserable being somewhere you don't belong. I never felt miserable. Everyone has been kind to me, including David, Catherine, and Steve. I always look forward to seeing everyone. They're way too kind. Don't take advantage of their kindness. I wanted my son to have a well-bred, educated wife. It upsets me that in reality, someone like you is at dinner with us instead. I'm sorry. I'll do my best to gain your approval. That will never happen. If you understood me, don't ever come to the dinner again. I understand. Make up some reason not to come to the dinner when David invites you next time. He won't treat you as well as he does now when you get old. He will dump you when you get old. You will die lonely and miserable. Susan, did you receive the package of cheese I sent you? Yes, I've just received it. Thank you for such an excellent selection of cheese. I hope you know. I know. Everything you sent to our house is for David. Exactly. Those aren't gifts for you. It's good to know you've learned to behave with a little modesty. It's written on the delivery slip for David. I wouldn't eat them without permission. I guess reading is the only thing you can do. You never remember what I say. I'm sorry. Speaking of which, we are going on a family trip for New Year's. We're staying in the luxury hotel for 3 nights. Yes, David told me. I was glad to know I'm allowed to join the trip. Thank you for your permission. What? You're going to babysit Catherine's children. Excuse me? The place we're going to stay is a luxury non-child-friendly hotel. Make sure to take good care of them. Am I staying home? Obviously. Who do you think is going to pay for the trip? I know David wants to take you with him, but I won't allow him this time. Don't even try to come with us. I don't want to see your stupid face at the start of a new year. I understand. Good. We never had this conversation, got it? You tell on me, and you will put our family's relationship in jeopardy. David will inherit my property someday. Your behavior can change my mind about it. Yes, I will keep that in mind. If my husband were still alive, he wouldn't approve of you either. You should thank me for allowing you to marry my son. Yes. People who grew up in single-parent families are so impudent. It's disgusting. Our family comes from a long line of wealthy landowners. We've always married someone from a good family. David was supposed to marry the daughter of the doctor who lives in Texas. Then you came out of nowhere. But we love each other. We're happy to have each other. Ugh, how cheesy. Don't talk to me like we're equals just because you married a rich man. With all due respect, he's just an ordinary businessman. He comes from a wealthy family. That's the reason you married him in the first place. Why are you bringing this up now? I don't care if he's wealthy or comes from a good family. Yeah, right. Just don't come on the trip with us. That's all I care about. You can't go on a trip when you have children to babysit. Think over what I told you. Know your place and stay humble like the peasant that you are. It's such great weather today, Susan. It really is. Isn't it such a perfect day to go on a trip? It sure is. Oh, right, you're staying home. Well, you shouldn't complain. Babysitting is the only thing you can do to make yourself useful. We'll enjoy our family trip. What a coincidence. I'm on a trip with my family too. Huh? You're on a trip? With your family? Are you traveling with your mother? Did you take Catherine's children with you? My mother is here, along with David, Catherine, and Steve. We've been having a great time at the hotel since yesterday. David and Catherine are there? You're kidding, right? You're bluffing. You want to go on a trip so badly that you would lie to me? We're actually here. I'm sorry, Diane. What? I've known for a week now that nobody was going on a trip with you. Nobody will come to the airport to meet you. I feel bad. That can't be true. There's no way Catherine stood me up. She says she would never go on a trip leaving her children behind. I planned this whole trip for her. I was going to help her refresh herself. Even so, she didn't want to make me babysit her children. Catherine is really warm-hearted, isn't she? David agrees with her. He said he's always been against leaving me out of the family. But they were excited for the trip. I know, they tricked you into believing so. Are they really not coming? No, we're too far away from the airport. Enjoy your trip alone. It really is a great day to go on a trip. Shut it! Where is everyone? I can't tell you that. Are you actually telling me to spend New Year's holiday alone? I booked an expensive hotel. Don't mess with me. Are you trying to embarrass me? We came to an agreement that we don't care about you or what will happen to you. Susan! Did you agree on that too? Yes. You're my daughter-in-law. You're supposed to listen to everything I say. Think about the way you've treated me. How can you think I would listen to what you say? I've been strict with you because David will be the head of the family someday. You need to behave properly as a wife of the head of the family. Otherwise, you will bring disgrace on your family. I play the bad guy for you. I'm sure. I only took your treatment as harassment. That wasn't my intention. Hey, I haven't been able to reach David or Catherine. Oh, they said they blocked you. Susan, please, tell them to answer my call. I don't want to. I have to go. We should enjoy our trip. Hold on! Susan! You won't get away with this! You'll regret this when you come back from a trip. Susan, there's something I'd like to tell you. I have nothing to say. I already told you yesterday. I'm done with you. I'd like to apologize for everything I've done. I don't need your apology. I'm going out of my way to apologize to you. Even now, you've always disrespected me. You've always criticized me for being raised in a fatherless family, for not going to college. I want nothing to do with someone like you. That was my fault. But I used to dream of a perfect daughter-in-law. I couldn't help but compare. I've always been excluded from the family since David and I got married. I've been told that I'm not one of the family. That I don't belong in the family because of where I come from. Those are the things you've been telling me, aren't they? Yes, but I will accept you from now on. David and Catherine gave me a lecture about my behavior. I regret what I've done. You can regret as much as you want, but it won't change my feelings. I'm making a compromise here. How impudent are you? What more do you want to blame me for? Your behavior like that? I didn't ask for a compromise. You're only apologizing to me because David and Catherine wouldn't talk to you otherwise. No. I feel that my criticism might have crossed the line. Then don't ever judge people based on their educational background or their upbringing. That's all I ask for. I will cut ties with you. Susan, I will accept you as a daughter-in-law. I sincerely apologize for my behavior. So, would you forgive and forget? Let's behave like adults. Conflicts happen between mother-in-laws and daughter-in-laws. No need to be so stubborn. You're not in a position to decide. This isn't just discord between mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. I've tried my best to win your approval. Now I realized it was unnecessary. I'm saying I recognize your effort now. Why aren't you happy about it? Catherine told me you were planning behind our backs to make David remarry someone else. You've already found a woman to make his new wife. I don't believe a single word coming from someone who plots something like that. I'd be all alone if David and Catherine break off relations with me. There would be no one to take care of the house. Why don't you pass it to one of your relatives? Why would I give away my property to someone in a branch family? I've worked so hard to protect my property. David and Catherine value something else over family property. They left you because of your obsession with money and status. I have nothing more to say to you. David and I will have a happy, peaceful life together. I'm really sorry, Susan. I apologize for everything. So please don't break off our relations. Please convince David to change his mind. No, I made up my mind, and so did David. We decided to lead a happy life surrounded with kind people that we love. Diane, who will die alone and miserable, me or you? After David and Catherine severed their relations with Diane, she shut herself in a large, lonely house. David and Catherine have always felt repulsion towards Diane's obsession with money and status. Diane had been opposed to Catherine's marrying anybody until she married Steve. Catherine was allowed to marry Steve only because he had a career Diane approved of. Catherine said, laughing, that she would have been single still if she had not met Steve. Diane was devastated by the fact that her own son and daughter left her. A neighbor who ran into Diane said she looked depressed and aged. Nonetheless, David and Catherine said it was good medicine for her. They seemed to have no intention of reconnecting with her again. Diane has always looked down on everyone and had no friends. That was probably why she was so attached to her family. But now her family gave up on her. She must be having a sad, lonely life alone. I was very happy to go on a trip with my family in the beginning of a new year. I am happy and grateful to be surrounded with a lot of warm-hearted people. To have a supportive husband and a sister-in-law who always cares about me. I will never forget their kindness and will continue to repay them by giving them all the support.